to another webinar from Ignis Jobs. This time the focus is on QA career and testing. I saw many of you who are participating here are coming from different backgrounds. Some of you are just starting with the testing career, and I see a lot of people have already worked in the QA as a QA professional. I'm going to spend some time walking through the different evolutions on testing, how it has shaped up, and now what are the opportunities that is presenting in front of us. But before I get started, I just want to know if anybody here in the audience cannot speak Tamil. If you don't understand Tamil, just raise your hand so that I will make sure I don't I use only English, or else I can mix it up with English and Tamil. So if you the way that you can raise your hand is that in your chat, if you go, there's a small hand symbol. If you click it, that means that it'll show us a rising hand for me, or you can just type in the chat that you don't speak Tamil. Whichever ways works. All right. All right, I'm going to get started. I didn't see any response, so I'm assuming everybody speaks Tamil, so maybe I'll mix it up with Tamil a little bit. All right, so what is Ignis Jobs? Right, first, a little bit introduction about us and me, especially. Ignis Jobs is a company that is based both in United States and in India. I personally live in the United States. I live in Chicago. I worked in TCS. I started my career 25 years ago. I worked in TCS and I worked in Oracle USA for a long time. And I run my own company also now. So the reason why we started Ignis Jobs is that when we are working with consultants, we place a lot of consultants here in the US as well as as well as in India. When we worked with a lot of consultants, what we faced was that the job portals today are just throwing a lot of jobs at them and not really helping them get the job. So you might have faced this scenario where you've been submitting resume after resume after resume for multiple jobs in different portals, all popular portals, right? But then how good is the response? How many employers are calling you back? How many responses do you get except the automated responses? So all of these job portals are more company focused, and also this current trend where you probably understand what digital marketing is. Job websites also work the same way. The employer who pays more money for advertisement, their jobs are pushed to the top. So when you log in and you only see those kind of jobs. LinkedIn is a great example. Indeed is like that completely. And as more and more employers spend on a particular job, only their jobs are shown and not every job is shown. And because of that, there is a rush to post resumes to that particular job. And like for one job, you're getting 1,000 applicants at more than 1,000 sometimes. And it's difficult for people to parse through those resumes to really understand who you are, because we have put our heart and soul in building that resume, building that profile, but you're not getting a response because nobody's really reviewing all that properly, right? And on top of that, there is application tracking systems which have keywords in it. If the keywords are not in the resume, it's not going to get shortlisted. So pretty much all over the world, this is the scenario. Whether it is India or US, finding a job today is going to finding a job, getting a call from somebody, setting up an interview has become really challenging nowadays. This is the core problem we are trying to address. We are trying to, help you in different other ways that we can set up an interview and get a call. Of course, use those job portals as well, but at the same time, what else you can do? What kind of personal branding you can do? And then after all this, if you get a call, how do you ace that interview and how do you crack that? So these are all our core passion to help you build your career, whether you are a beginner or you're already working in a job trying to get ahead in the same profession, or maybe you're switching careers. Maybe you're changing from one area to another area within IT or outside of IT. All this, what can be done here is one of our core, what can be done here differently so that it'll benefit people, not just companies. That's our core passion towards starting Ignis Jobs. So before we get started, the best way to reach us is through cv@ignisjobs.com. Whether you have any query on anything, like you can write to us. We're going to respond. We're going to understand you and respond. What are the three things that we do? Like I mentioned, we actually help with finding a job, and then also we have job specific boot camps. This is a 4-hour boot camp format, and specifically for if you might have something you need to post some. You saw a job that you are interested. You need to post your resume to that job, and you think you're not equipped enough. Those are the places where those are the times when you can join a boot camp. It's usually on a weekend, and it could be on weekdays in the evening too. And it's a 4-hour format. Just once you go through that, you'll be confidently posting your profile or CV. You'll be able to build a CV, or if you have an interview, you'll be able to clear that as well. And we also help with freelance project mainly from US. Um, and there are also some projects that we directly work with, which in some cases we recruit as well. All right. With that all said, I'm actually going to our topic of the day. I hope everybody can see my screen. All right. First, today's topic is how this whole QA profession or testing is changing. Some of you might be already working in QA, so you know this. This is, you know, you know some of this. But I'm still going to talk a little bit on how it all started, right? When software came in the early, 1950s and 60s, most people were not sure about what that is and how it need to be tested. So it was all highly technical. Like only people um, who know how to write a code were really trying to build that whole testing as a practice. And then different methodologies came in, but then this waterfall methodology, which is you gather a requirement first, and then you analyze it, you design for it, and then you develop it, test it, and then you launch it. This is in sequence, just like a waterfall, how from top to bottom, right? So that's why it's called a waterfall methodology. So this was primarily used for 20 or 30 years. Even now, some companies use it. You will be surprised. And this is a methodology where one follows the other, and the work is clearly defined, and it's separated from different teams, sometimes different people. And that was that was that's how most of our applications were built in the past. So it was very clear distinction between, hey, this is a testing team, this is a development team, this is a production migration team. And then there was a period where, hey, this process is very slow. To launch something to the customer, it takes 6 months. We reduce this. Can we fasten it? Is there a way we can shorten this to a month or 2 weeks sometimes? So that's where the same process that I talked about earlier was reduced. Whether you gather a requirement, you analyze it, you design it, develop it, you test it and launch it. All of this, can it be split into pieces? And then it's almost like smaller cycles. Like instead of doing it in 6 months, can we do it in like 2 weeks or a month? But all of this will happen anyway. So then they thought about, okay, so let's just wisely or smartly divide this chunk of work into smaller pieces and then target, hey, this month we are only going to work on this piece, but we will gather equipment, design, develop, analyze, test, and then launch all of this within this month. But we'll only have this, we'll not work on an end-to-end working application. We will only focus on this functionality or this piece. So that's where the agile came into that was followed more. So with agile came, a little bit fast development. A lot of companies went with a monthly, they call it a sprint, they cycle a sprint, or some companies call it iteration. So Scrum methodology, Agile methodology, kind of similar, having slight variations. And some companies followed a 2 week sprints, and advanced tech companies followed even a 1 day sprint, right? Like they say, if companies like Facebook or Google, they release codes even continuously every day, right? So when you release code continuously every day, if not once in 2 weeks or a month, you still need to test that. So how do you test? How do you explain this to a testing team, and um, you know, how do you make it faster, more faster? You know, that's where this whole DevOps and continuous testing emerged, right? DevOps is nothing but development operations. You can even call it testing operations or launch ops, whatever you want to call it. But DevOps is at the end of the day making this agile methodology more robust and streamlined so that uh, we we take care of each and every steps that is supposed to happen before we launch a code to production, before we launch an application to a customer, but making sure that is really taken care even in that shorter cycle. That is DevOps. So there are tools that were used for DevOps, and then now in the future they're saying AI might help a lot here, and there's more. It's going to give more AI automation capabilities. But when all this is happening? What is the impact on us as a person who is doing the job, as a person that is searching for a job, as a person that is trying to get ahead in the career, in the job? What is in it for us? Number one, it's very clear that testing in QA profession in the last 20 years, it's a lot of different terminologies, right? A lot of confusion in the market. A lot of people use different words. Some people use Scrum Master. Some people use agile testing. Some people use DevOps. Some people use automation. So there's a lot of terminologies used. How, as a job seeker or career advancer, I am going to look at this. I'm like, oh my God, this is overwhelming for me, right? It's sometimes challenging to really understand what's going on. But overall, if you see, as a tester, the number one responsibility for you is to really help with the collaborative process. Collaboration is what collaborating between people, right? At the end of the day, when things are going fast, you might have seen the racetrack, right? Uh, Either in Chennai or even in TV sometimes, right? When when car in a car racetrack, when a car race is happening, they have pit stops. Pit stops is where these cars stop and they quickly do a quick quality check and replace the tires. And within like a minute, they send the car back to the racetrack. And then their car race continues, right? Why do they need that? Like, can't the car run on itself on its own? Hey, unfortunately, not, right? And if you see in that pit stop, there might be at least 6 to 8 people. The car race driver is only one, but the pit stop has almost 6 to 8 people. They do one each of one. And if you watch that, if you go Google YouTube and then say, either Formula One or NASCAR uh, race pit stop, just Google like that in YouTube, and then or search in YouTube. You can find videos. It's amazing to watch that. within 1 minute, it's almost they will service an entire car, like quick service. Like you take your car to a car service, it'll take easily 15 minutes or half an hour at least just to do oil change, right? Here in the car racetrack, in the pit stop, within that 1 minute, so many things will happen in that car. Somebody will be cleaning the glasses, somebody will be checking on the oil, somebody will be replacing the tires. And you can see it's like the human collaboration at its peak, right? Beautifully, everybody will focus on their responsibility and it will happen. If one of them missed one screw in the tire, it's going to kill the driver. That's the beauty of that collaboration. So the number one responsibility of anybody working in testing area is to make sure this collaboration is successful. Because in any IT projects, there will be different people working in different things. So when you go as a person calling yourself a tester, the first thing is that you look at the overall picture and then see what value you can add. Forget about your role. Forget about you're going to be called as automation tester or manual tester or functional tester or performance tester, load tester, or this and that, agile tester, agile scrum master, whatnot. Forget about all that. Just have one thing in goal. If you're getting into a testing team, look at the overall picture and see where you can add value to collaboration. This is the golden word for you, collaboration. How can you facilitate human collaboration in that ecosystem is the number one motto of a testing person, a testing professional, right? So now with that said, whatever tools and technologies and methodologies, AI automation, this is not going to bother you because you will be very strong in what you're doing, making things work as a system, not in a single piece, right? This is what we are going to see in the next slide, where I'm going to talk about the different trends of what's being, how the collaboration has worked in the current scenario and how the collaboration will work in the future scenario. And what are the opportunities that can come for you in that? All right. Things change, right? And especially if you're in testing career, oh my God, in the last, I mean, if you talk to anybody who's an experienced testing architect, you will see there are changes all the time. Things are New things are thrown at them all the time. It changes all the time. Reason, the way they develop is changing. The way they deploy is changing. The way they test is changing. The way customer is using an application is changing. That's why the changes are happening, right? And because you touch every part of the project as a testing professional, you will you will see the change impact you more than anybody else, right? If a developer is given a new tool to develop, they probably maybe use the tool at least for a year, 2 years, and then maybe new trend will come, a new development tool will come. They'll start learn that and they'll start using it. But for tester, it's not the case. Maybe for one development tool, okay, oh, this is the development tool they're using. I need to learn it a little bit to debug and test it. And suddenly, the deployment team will say that, hey, I'm using a different tool for deployment. So that cycle is not in sequence. It will happen in parallel, and that's why you are seeing all the changes thrown at you at once, right? So, but then this is the interesting part in testing. People who worked in testing will know the entire application, will know the entire project. If you work as a developer, you only know your piece. You are focused on that. You build, you create code, things work, no doubt about it. But then you may not know the holistic application, end-to-end holistic application. And this is the superpower of a tester. Even if you worked in one project as a tester, you will know end-to-end what that project is about. This is the biggest advantage So you will get a good picture of the entire scope. Oh, this is exactly how they are doing. Oh, these are the teams. Oh, this is there is like five integrations going out here. There is a payment integration. There is this two database. It's looking to validate something. You will know everything holistically. That's a superpower you gain. So every project is a is a is a learning for you in terms of what has been accomplished as an entire project. Whatever the project manager knows, whatever the architect knows, whatever the uh, you know we call that a sponsor, right? Whoever is in charge of that project, whatever they know, you will know. You will know what the business is expecting. Maybe not necessarily all the developers will know that. This is the biggest superpower of a tester, a testing professional. And as changes are coming, whoever adapts these changes are going to be super successful in what they do, right? So if you are a super hero, you to use your superpower, which will make you a superhero, you have to adapt to change, the different situations that are thrown at you. But again, having that one single motto in your head, whatever may be the situation, I am here to add value as a collaborator. I'm going to make human collaboration work very well. You don't even worry about system collaboration or application collaboration. That is like integration between applications. There are architects, that is an architect worry. They will worry about that. Let them worry about that. You worry about how this end-to-end process is working. Um, how can I add value there? You just have this one thought in your mind. You will be able to adapt to the change that is going around you. All right. Let's talk about current state versus future state. Give me 1 second. You see, there are two circles here, right? One is an inner circle that is actually the developer circle, right? The developers design, they code, they deploy, and they debug as well. Sometimes they build interfaces as well. And there's a bunch of other things they do too. It's high complexity, right? Many of you may have worked as a coder also. Many of you might have studied programming in college. So you know the complexity of building an application, right? Sometimes you are blank. Sometimes you have to go to do a lot of research and really learning to really write that one piece of code that will bring that functionality to that button in a page. It's a complex job, right? It's really complex. So that is the inner circle. And then the outer circle is where rest of everything falls under. Where is this code highly secure? Are there gaps so that hackers will get into the code? Um, is this code working as expected? Is this code um, doing the meeting the business objectives that it's supposed to meet? Is that code complicating the user experience when somebody is using a mobile app or a web application? Is it complicating them? Is it taking a long time? Right? Sometimes you click a button, you sit there for like a minute, like you see a little circles rotating, and like, what's going on? Hey, that's a bad user experience, they say, right? So is this code really impacting that user experience? Right. And is it reliable? Is it working sometime? It is not working sometime. You have situations like that. So all of this is validated by the quality assurance or the testing profession. So you get the holistic picture there. You get to know what functions, how it's supposed to function, what business outcomes need to be met, and is it secure enough? Is it usable enough? All these other aspects of the code is managed by the testing professional. Complexity wise, it is complex, gets complex sometimes, no doubt about it. But then compared to writing a code, it's a little bit less complex, right? So a lot of people might start their career as programming and then they switch to testing professional. A lot of people are a little bit averse to programming. Oh my God, I don't want to write code. I cannot handle this. So I would rather, maybe I want to be in IT, but I don't want to write code. So that's why I'm in testing, right? Some people do that. Nothing wrong with that. And it's good news for all of you because coding is coding requirement is slowly going away. So don't worry. So it's all getting better for you. But those are some of the reasons we may have made decisions on why we have chosen this field or why we want to apply for this job, right? And so the coding job is complex, I said, a lot of heavy lifting, mentally stressful. And usually, if you see any project you go, um, if it's a large bank like ICICI Bank, they have this banking application, you'll see at least, um, if there are 300 developers, there will be only 100 testers in that entire project. The ratio is usually 3:1, right? For every three developers out there, there'll be one tester. But with automation, things are changing. I don't know any of you have tried Microsoft Copilot or um, GitHub Copilot. If you're using GitHub, you should try that. They're saying that 55% of productivity gain from using an AI tool when you develop, when you program something, when you write code. It is going to suggest you the right code. When I started my career 25 years back, I would see this as, oh my God, this is like direct from heaven, right? Because when I was like so blank sometimes when I see the dark screen, in those days, the programming screens were the IDEs we call, right? Integrated development environments. They were not so user friendly. They were sometimes black screen, green screens. If you are IBM DB2 background, you'll see green screens. So all you don't know what to type there. You don't know what key to press to get to the next code because you need to remember so many coding paradigms and languages and things like that. Not anymore. Not anymore. So this Copilots and other AI assistant tools that is coming up to help developers, it's just giving you the right thing. You just need to tell them what you need, and it's giving you code, and you can adjust it. You can manipulate a little bit, and then try to make that code work for your functionality. That's the future state. I would say it's current state in many companies. Maybe 5% of the companies have already started using it, right? And this 5% is going to become 50% in the near future. So developers are going to start aggressively using AI tools to develop code. What that means is that their development time is going to decrease. And how companies will see this as a productivity gain for them. So the number of coders, the number of programming people might even decrease. You might have heard about the layoffs in Silicon Valley, right? Like, I don't know the exact number. Every company, big companies, tech companies were laying off mainly programmers. The reason is, they can do better with few people. Programming will be still in high demand, but only for people who can strongly deliver certain things, right? Like out of three people, it can be done by one per person. So programming is the first one that is really impacting. Programmers are the first set of people that is being impacted by AI. That's a reality here. In the US, it's coming to India too. So coders will decrease code, but then because of AI tool, if you can write programs faster, what is the outcome? The coding volume will increase. People will start writing code left and right. They will keep on pumping code. Who is going to test all that? I mean, can the testing be 100% automated? I don't think so because you are testing for human usage mostly. And none of the human scenarios are straightforward. Yeah, AI tool can help build test scenarios, but then it may not be straightforward scenarios. You got to think from a human perspective. That's where you come into picture. So there is certainly, they're saying that even today, this is a real stat from some magazine article where they say the um, the GitHub Copilot tool is will help you build code faster, but it's going to build with 40% bugs. So obviously, testing opportunities will be more, right? Especially the changing, the volume of code coming in and tested against a lot of human experiences or user experiences, and then with the provision that with an assumption that 40% of the code is going to be a little bit crap, right? Bug, we got to go review it. All of that is opportunity for a testing professional, right? Maybe they're going to call that as a different name. You have to still wait and see what kind of name they're going to call, but it's going to be slightly, um, you know, different. But they're going to call for it soon. So there's going to be more testing opportunities coming for use soon. So this is kind of the high level, bigger picture. So this probably gives you hope and kind of a big picture of what's happening in the market, right? How we came from manual testing to where we are now, right? Now let's go back to our superheroes, shall we? Who doesn't like superhero? Why this slide is filled with superheroes is that in order to navigate the complex job market, you need to kind of take an identity. Us blindly going and applying for jobs, you may not get calls. It's not possible now. So you have to navigate in such a way that you position yourself right for that job. So number one thing that is in demand, I would say now is the word automation, test automation. If you're a new beginner, or if you're a new beginner, or if you're an experienced person who've done manual testing, some other testing, but you are looking to get ahead in your career, automation is the number one skill right now in demand, right? So Selenium and Cucumber are some of the top tools, but you need to figure out what kind of identity you can choose here. What will work for you? Do you have any past experience on anything here? Maybe you have worked with some website development. Maybe web application testing is something that you can do. So you can combine that with automation, right? Or maybe in one of the project you have used Salesforce or Oracle. So in that case, hey, maybe if I combine that with automation, it might be good as well, right? Or, you know, this is API testing. API testing is how one application interacts with another application, what kind of exchanges happen and how that can be tested. That's API testing. Security testing, cybersecurity, right? How can you build applications that are secure? So there are tools for it. How can you do that testing? And load testing is something where if the application need to be accessed by millions of people at the same time, what will happen? Right? How much of a load testing it can handle? Right? I heard the news that actor Vijay's app for joining his new party that crashed because a lot of people started accessing it at the same time. So if they had done good load testing, that might have been prevented. Right? That's load testing. So in order to navigate the complexities of the job world, you need to kind of pick an identity or combine identities so that you will get your calls, able to ace the interview and get in. So, getting into career ladder, like, okay, so I'm in testing professional now. I want to become an architect. I want to become a lead. That is one type of career growth. But from a job market perspective, your positioning and your strategizing is the number one skill that you need to possess as well. So number two, maybe you need to figure out in that crowded market what they're asking in the job and how you can match your resume with that job. Can I infuse any of these superpowers to match? Those are some of the things that you need to think about. And I want to talk about these three things, test lead and architect. So I would say the top here, even freshers or people with less experience can opt to any of these top six areas of testing. You can take a boot camp, you can get educated yourself more, and then just start attending interviews. You can learn a lot of things in, let's say, API testing. It's all about your ability to use the tools. There are four things, right? what need to be done, how it need to be done, what part, how part, and then we'll, which scenario, where it need to be done. And then the fourth one is that have you done in the past? Which project have you used? These are the common questions that these are the expectation from the interviewer, right? The interviewer will ask for these four things. What what do you know about this tool? What do you know about this load testing, for example? How do you use the tool to do load testing? Which scenario, like where exactly you will use this tool in the project life cycle? Where exactly will you use this tool? And then which project you use this tool? If you take any interview, these are the four things they're curious about. The interviewer, hiring manager, is only curious about these four. Out of these four, if you ignore the last one, let's say, which project have you used this tool? Just for 1 minute, ignore that. The other three, you can very well educate yourself through boot camps and self-study. What is this tool about? How to use this tool? And where in the project lifecycle I should use this tool? All these three can be taught. So even if you're a fresher, an experienced person trying to get ahead, these six at the top, you're ready to go, right? You can learn and move ahead in your career with all this. That's a good strategy for you. Let's say you're an experienced person, you're looking ahead to move in a different type of career. Mm, you want to become a little bit more managerial. Then I think these three are good areas to you got to become a team lead first, right? Test lead, a team lead. And then there's a new role called product owner. You might see these coming up. These are the people who own multiple projects and they end to end, they kind of govern it. Product manager is a role that you can opt for if you have a lot of good experience as a tester. Product manager is a great role. It's the same thing, collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. How do you see the ecosystem, project ecosystem? How do you see how they are using these tools? What are the inefficiencies in that? And then how can you help? That's product manager. Product manager goes one step ahead and also sets roadmap. What are we supposed to work on the next 6 months, next year, things like that, right? Now I want to talk about two other roles that are slowly going to fade away, right? A lot of people may be working in this role. It will not every company will remove this. There will be still opportunities, but still the with AI and mode of these roles might change their names into different things, right? So there are like Scrum Master, right? There used to be people conducting daily stand-up meetings, capturing information and making sure everybody is up to their task. Now they have powerful tools for that, right? So that everybody just goes and clicks the button and then the scrum management is done effectively. That's why I have these two other. I don't know whether you have seen this movie. This is the old eagle from Angry Birds, and this is the old man from the Up movie, right? The reason why I have chosen this avatar is basically that these are something that is slowly going to fade away, right? With new areas that this might morph into product owner or product manager, those kind of roles. So that's kind of a little bit strategies on how you can navigate the job market now as a QA professional, right? Now, we got how much time? Okay, so we're almost done. So let's go. So we are like I said, we conduct boot camps, right? We have 6 boot camps coming up, specifically focusing on automation one, API testing, and testing a web application, a SaaS product, right? And then Salesforce application focused. And then also a product manager. If you have people who are experienced here, who want to become a product manager, that's a boot camp that's coming up too. And then what if I'm a new beginner, if I'm a new starter, what are the opportunities here? So this is like very, very, very less cost effective. So if you see it's only 1,000 rupees for the boot camp, it's 4 hours on a weekend or on an evening. And it's almost like if you have something you need to apply next week, if you see some jobs that you need to apply immediately, these are some of the things that you should get in and then position yourself for that job or in an interview, right? So we have 6 boot camps coming. Panelist, if you can type the form to register in this, please share, or you can also send to cv@ignisjobs.com. If there are no more questions, let's end the call. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful Sunday evening. Bye.